Hello students, let us start with unit 4, that is gameplay. In the previous chapter, we have seen only a single agent operating in its environment. Okay, so it has to focus on its own agents, own actions only. It has to focus on only own actions. But in gameplay, we will be having a multiple agent, and mostly it will be a two agent scenario, and they will act in competitive mode. Okay, and because of this scenario we will have unpredictability. Okay, so if you consider A and B are two agents, okay, so the actions of A will now depend on actions available with the B. Now A has to consider which actions are available with the B. This was not the case in this chapter, right? And this agent will act alternately. Okay, first A will make a move, then B will give its response, and then again A will take a move, and so on. And this type of search problems are known as adversarial search problems, or in some simple words, they are known as game problems. Okay, so this is the central theme of this chapter. So we will be having the two agents. They will be playing in a competitive mode, and they will act alternately. Okay, and they want to maximize their gain. Okay, and in this chapter we call gain as the utility of that agent. Okay, so next topic of this chapter is zero sum games of perfect information. Zero sum games of perfect information. Okay, so now in this chapter we are assuming that we have a perfect information scenario. Perfect information means what? We will have all the information related to a game. What are the options available with our agent? What are the actions available with the other agent? What are the different states in the game? Okay, we know everything about this problem. That's why. So in our terminology, we can say that our environment here is deterministic. Okay. The next one, our environment is fully observable. In the second chapter, we have seen different properties of the environment. Okay, so in this scenario, our environment is deterministic, it is fully observable. Okay, and next property, because as it is a zero sum, the sum of utilities of all the players or agents will remain constant. So if you consider a tic-tac-toe game, if a player A wins, he will get 1 as a utility. If he loses, he will get 0, -1. Okay, if game draws, then utility of both the agent will be 0. Okay, so if A wins, obviously B will be losing, right? So sum of utilities of all the players. So A's utility is 1, B's utility is -1, so it is 0. If A loses, so its utility will be -1, B's utility will be 1, so 0. If it is a draw case, then again 0. So sum remains the constant. Okay, that's why they call it zero sum. Okay, actually it should be constant sum problems, but they have named it as zero sum problems. If you consider a chess game, we cannot assign a negative value to a player. So if a player loses, it will be 0 utility. Its utility will be 0. If it is a draw case, then utility of both the player will be half, and if a player wins, its utility will be 1. Okay, if first player wins, so this is the scenario. If second player wins, this is the scenario. If it is a draw case, this is the scenario. So you can see their sum remains the constant. So this is the property of this zero sum games of perfect information. Sometimes we may have imperfect information cases. Imperfect information. Okay, So for example, a bridge game. Okay, so it is a card game. Okay, so where our agent cannot see all the cards. Okay, so that's why that introduces the factor of luck or uncertainty. Okay, that's why such scenario we have imperfect information. Okay, but we are assuming that our games will be zero sum games and they will have perfect information. So now how to formulate our game problems. So our next topic is formulation of game problems. Okay, so for that we use 6 components. So if you remember, we have used 5 components to define such problems, right? So here we use 6 components. First one is the initial state. Initial state. We generally represent it as 0. What is the starting point of your game? The next one is player S. Which player has a move from the S? Okay. Next, actions. Which actions are possible from state S? Okay. This S represents a state. From state, which player has the move, that is represented by this function. Which actions are possible is represented by this function. Then, what is the result of action A on S? So this is just like a transition model, right? Next, whether a current state is a terminal. Okay, if our game is over, then terminal test will return true. Okay, if the current state is a terminal leaf node, then this function will return true. Last one is utility. What is the utility value of state S? So we define the problem using these 6 components. So now let us consider the example of tic-tac-toe game. Tic-tac-toe game. And one more point, we always start. So now we are considering two player games, right? So we always start a player called Max. Other player is known as a mean. Okay. So first move will be played by a Max. So this is the starting point of a tic-tac-toe, an empty grid. Now we have a move for Max. So a player at S0 will be Max, right? Player function gives us which player has the move at current state, right? So player S0 is Max. We represent Max move by X. Now Max can place here. Okay, total 9 options are available. So from this state there will be 9 childs, right? So Max can play at the first position or at the second position or at the last position. Okay, so 9 options are available with the Max. Now we have a move for mean player and we use small o for that. From this branch, now mean has total 8 options. So mean can play here, and so on. Okay. If you continue like this, you may result in this case, this state. So where mean has 1. Okay. So we may reach to this state or a draw case. Okay, by following this branch. Okay, so then okay, this is the draw case. Next one, we may have where max has 1. Okay, so this is the state where max has 1. Okay, this may be the utility values of this state, right? So terminal nodes will have utilities values, right? We always represent the game tree from the point of view of max. Okay, so these are the utility values of max. Okay, we always consider from the point of view of max player. So as this is max is losing here, utility is -1. Draw case it is 0, and for where max is winning, so utility is 1. So always remember, we always draw a game tree from the max point of view. Now, as you can see from the simplest problem like tic-tac-toe, the game tree is very complex. Okay, and have you noticed that we are using a term called game tree? Okay, so in this chapter, a search tree is known as a game tree. Okay, so always remember, we call a tree in this chapter as a game tree. Okay, so now game tree for this real world problems are very complex. So we use a trivial games called as ply games. So these are imaginary games. So consider, so always we will have a max at the as the starting player. So consider there are some imaginary actions available with the actions max, that is A1, A2, A3. Now B has to respond to these actions. So now it is means turn now. So this is A node, B, C, D. Now consider mean has 3 options, 3 actions available for this node. Let's name this nodes E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M. Okay, consider this is C1, C2, C3, D1, D2, D3. Okay, now this is a 2-ply game. 2-ply game tree. Why it is 2-ply? Because there are 2 levels of the game. Okay, if we add next level, if we add a response of max, okay, after mean max will play, okay, it will become a 3-ply game. Okay, so in order to reduce the complexity of the game tree, we are using this imaginary games called as ply games. Okay, so now let us see the problem from the textbook. So we will have we are having these values. Okay, so whose utility values are this? It will be the max one. We always represent the game tree with respect to max, right? So these are the utility values means possible for max. Okay, so now the best utility value, best reward max can get is 14. Okay, so if in order to achieve that, if he plays A3, then this mean may play D3, and thereby the reward for max will be 2. Okay, so here we have to consider that both the players are playing optimally. Okay, so max has to consider which actions are available with the mean. Okay, so how to decide the optimal strategy? How to decide the optimal strategy? In any scenario, max should get the optimal result. Okay, so that is given by a minimax value. That we can find out by minimax value. Okay, so minimax value for a particular for a particular state can be calculated using this recursive definition. Okay, so now if this state is a leaf node, its minimax value will be its utility value. Okay, so if minimax of S. Okay, if so, how to find out whether a current state is a terminal or not? So we have a test called terminal test, right? Terminal test. If this S passes this test, so its minimax value will be its utility value, utility of S. Then if from that S, if a current player is max, player S, if it is max is move, then so max will try to maximize the minimax value. So max player will try to maximize the minimax value of its child, right? Okay, so it will maximize, it will apply a max function on minimax value of a child. And how to get a child from the current state? If you apply actions on that, so we have a function called result, right? Result S comma A. Okay, and we need all the actions. So actions belong to, and how to get all actions? We have a function for that also. Okay, so by this, okay, we are saying that for all available action, you find out the minimax, okay, and then take the max of that. Okay, so we will find out minimax value. Okay, result S will give us a child. Okay, so first we will get A1, then A2 and A3. So A1, if we apply A1 on S, okay, we will get this node. Then we will find out the minimax value of that. Then A2 will be applied. Then we will get this C. Then minimax of C and so on. Okay, so this is the recursive definition. Then if the next move is of mean, then mean will try to minimize. Okay, rest part will be same. Minimax value of each child. Result S comma A. Okay, it will take a minimum of minimax values of its child. Okay, so if you consider here, now from B it is means move. Okay, now it will try to select a minimum utility from this one, and it will become a minimax value of that node. Okay, so this is the recursive definition, and if you implement this definition in the form of algorithm, you will get this algorithm. Okay, so now we will first run this definition here. Okay, so now we want to find out minimax value of A node. Okay, so let's run it. So first we'll call minimax for A. Okay, so now at A the player is max, right? So we'll jump here. Then so from A, three actions are possible. If we apply A1, then it will be minimax of result of A comma A1. A comma A1. So it will be B. So it is minimax of B. Okay, minimax of B. Then A2, it will be minimax of C. Then A3, it will be minimax of D. Okay, and we have to take a maximum of that. Okay. Next, in order to find out minimax of B, so it is a recursive call. Again, we have to jump. Okay. So from B, three actions are possible, and at this level, it is means move. So we have to consider this definition. Okay. So from this, three actions are possible: B1, B2, and B3. Okay. So now, and if you apply B1 at B, we are getting E node. Okay, so it will be minimax of E, then minimax of F, and minimax of G. Okay, and we have to take what? Minimum of that. Okay. Now again this is a recursive call, minimax of E. Minimax of E. So as E is a terminal test, its minimax value will be utility value. Okay, so minimax of E is 3. So 3 comma F12 and G's is 8. So minimum of these 3 value that will be written. So it is 3 now. Okay. So similarly for C node, it will be minimum among these 3, that is 2. So 2 will be written. Okay. And for this it will be again 2. So 2 will be written. So now it is max between 3 comma, it is max between 3 comma 2 comma 2. So that is 3. So best reward available with 3 is 2. The best reward available with node A is 3. Okay, and it has to travel, it has to take A1 action here. In response to that action, this min player will play B1 so as to reduce the utility of max player. If it plays B2, then 12. Okay, so one thing you can notice here, if B1 does not play optimally, the reward of max, okay, may increase. Okay. So now how this algorithm will work? See, it is just like this definition. So now it is minimax decision at state and it is returning action. Okay. So if you apply this algorithm on this example, we expect this algorithm will return A1 as the result. Okay. So let us apply this algorithm. So this is B, C, D, A. This is max level, mean. Okay. Now let us apply this algorithm on this example. So this algorithm will return action, not the value. Okay. So now we are using argmax function here. Argument. Okay. It will return an argument which will maximize this function. Okay, and what is the argument to this function? It is actually a. Okay, so it is actually returning action which will maximize its value. Okay, so for maximizing the min max value of a, which action is responsible? That is a1. Okay, so that is the significance of this function argmax. It will return the argument which is maximizing the value of this function. Okay. So next one. So for every action we are calling the mean value function. Okay. So we'll jump here. Okay, and we are passing a child of state. Okay, after applying that action. Okay. So first, okay, from that we are having mean value for its child. So first child is B. Okay. So now there is a call for mean value for B. Okay, so we will jump here. Now it is returning a utility value. Okay, if terminal test, if that state is a terminal, then return its utility value, just like that recursive definition. Okay, it is not, B is not a terminal state. Okay, then V is initialized to infinity for each action from this state. Okay, so from B, B1, B2, B3 are possible. Okay, then we will have this function. Okay, so V equals to mean of this value. V value is infinity, max value of result of S of A. Okay, if you apply B1 on B, if we apply B1 on B, we are getting this value, and we are having max value of that. So this max value is the function, right? This function. max value of that what this node. Okay, this is the terminal node. So we will jump here terminal test. So that is a terminal node, right? So its utility value will be written, that is 3. So it is v equals to mean of v value is infinity from a max value, that is 3, right? So v will become, so v which was infinity now became 3. Okay. Next, for next action it is again the same thing. For next action, the max value will be 12. So v will be minimum of, now current value of v is 3. Now max value of the child will be 12, right? It is a terminal node. So now again it will be 3. Then next, for next action again we will jump. Okay, mean value between a current value, that is 3, mean of 3 comma max value of the child, max value, it is a terminal, so its utility value will be written, that is 8 and it will be 3 and 3 is written. Okay, so 3 is written. Okay, next, if you apply similarly, you will get 2 here and 2 here, and if you apply, so the argument which is maximizing the value of that function is this action. Okay, maximum value is 3. That's why this function will return a1 value. So this is the working of this algorithm. I hope this is clear to you. In next video we will learn about alpha beta pruning. Okay, actually in this minimax algorithm we are visiting every branch. Okay, but we have seen the concept called pruning, right? Pruning will prune the particular branch. If it is not useful, if it is not contributing to the result, we can easily prune that branch, thereby reducing the time complexity. Okay, so in alpha, next topic is alpha beta pruning. So that we will discuss in next class. Thank you.